Hello, Wild Wisdom Warriors. Hello, YouTube. Hello, my shamans from around the world. This is Lily Kolosova, and this is my journal. Welcome. So today is February 25th, 2020, you guys. So welcome. Today is Orange Day. I guess that's what it is. So today I'm having some water with tangerines and the juice. So here we go. Orange Day, I guess. All right. So welcome everyone, whoever is here. So this is my journal, and today I wanted to talk about, last time in my last journal, I mentioned that possession. We talk about possession, and we talked about techno spirituality and what it is a little bit. I've touched on. So in today's journal, you guys, I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and sort of expand a little bit more on that. So this is where the title comes from: Techno Spirituality, Ascension. What is Ascension? I also talk about Ascension in the past and what it is, and so I'm gonna expand on that a little bit more, and then I'm gonna talk about DNA codes. Okay, and what it has to do with our genetics, because the techno spirituality and all of this invasion, it's all connected. So this is basically what I want to sort of expand on. So if you guys have questions, go ahead and throw your questions out there, so I can see what perspective, what side to sort of look at it today. So she said it. Thank you. Good morning from Australia. Thank you for being here, Australia. Miles, thanks for being here. Hey, Natasha. Hello, darling. Thank you for being here. Nick, thank you. Comfort, thank you, darling, for being here. Thanks. So here we go, you guys. Let's talk about this. So here's my virgin mimosa again. Caesar does say hi to everybody. Do you, Caesar? He does. He really figures well. He's got a nice comfy bed here by my feet, so he's good. Again, as you guys might know, we have a really cold weather here in Colorado. It's been really cold, I think, and one of the snowiest Februaries. If not, I think if we get another inch or two, we're going to beat a record of the snow for February. This is what I heard the other day. So yeah, we've been having a lot of snow and things like that. So I'm trying to stay warm. So, but kind of, I trigger a few people last time talking about some of those black magicians out there in our invaded and infiltrated truth movement, and so some people didn't like it. I'm been getting some private emails and things like that about stuff that I talked about in the last journal, but it's my journal. So again, I have to say that what I talk about is my experience. Okay. And in all of the realities. Okay. So this is what I wanted to relate to everybody, that, I'm not doing these journals for anybody to like them or dislike them, or like what I talk about or dislike, even though, people that are enjoying this are welcome to like this videos. But what I say is that for people that think that I'm overstepping some kind of boundaries, um, you're coming into my journal. It's like you're coming into my house, finding my journal, reading my journal, and then telling me that what I write in my journal is wrong. This is basically what's happens with these people that send me these private emails and threats and all kinds of things because I spoke about their beloved George Kavasilis. And those mostly are females. And this is what I talk about, the reptilian DNA codes that have this ability to put these females as their slaves. And then they do all these things for them because it's all the females that are attacking me right now about George Kavasilis. And so I want to talk about that. And then that leads into possession, because then how is that self-empowering? Like, okay, how is that self-empowering for those people that are telling me that I don't have the right to say in my journal what was my experience with George Kavasilis? How is that okay with a community that's ascending into a higher frequency? Hasn't that 5D program failed you? Because it was built on this techno spirituality. And this is nothing new. So see, it's just except that right now, everything's so intensified to the degree that it is so clear to see who's doing what and what's going on. And so now for me to stand here and have the right to speak about my experience in truth movement. So what did I call the truth movement and all of those people that those foundation people, all of those that are the foundation of this techno spirituality and truth movement, which is including all these aliens and all of that stuff? Hello, Anna. Hi, Bella. So what happens? All the foundation for the UFO communities, for the fake it until you make it crowd, as I used to say it. Here's your aliens, here's your, okay, we're just gonna drink the Kool-Aid and go to alien world or whatever. Here's all your programs. Here's your Ascension. Here's your flat earth bull crap. Here's everything. All of it is techno spirituality. It's all stems from that Ascension teachings into 5D. How is that Ascension? How's that working out for black magicians out there today? Thank you, darling. Conferius. Nice sweater. Hey, Paul. Thank you for joining from Unite Planet. Thank you. So, anyway. So how in a lot of people in the past, even back in the days and a few years back, I would talk about possession And I would talk about techno spirituality and things that I talk about. I talked about AI in 2015. Okay. So and now we just come into a time sort of to where we can see from another side what is this, and this is when you go on your own personal shamanic journey. And this is why it's kind of laughable when those people are threatening me and say, oh, because I'm gonna spread all this about you. And it's like, really, George, can you do any better? Okay, so techno spirituality and possession. So what happens with then the magicians? Like, there's, like I said, most of them out there are Black magicians. Simon Parks, you know, and all of them, they're all connected. All of them, they're all, when they have those conferences are nothing but a reptilian feeding feasts that they have. Hi, aloha, Teresa. Thank you so much for joining. So those are the feeding feasts. So what happens when possession takes place? And this is what these women then do. They, on the subconscious level, running a program of a slave. And this is why I said, you can't even question right now that George Vassilis can talk about sovereignty and freedom when all of his stuff has been based on slave mentality. Oh, that chameleon's gonna tell you, come in and give you any program you want to hear. They're gonna call it anything. But he's gonna have all these women go do his bidding. And I met a few of them. They're all kind of then this, they do their, conferences and watch who they're, in cahoots with, right? Here's your Carrie Cassidy crew, all of them, right? So that's the foundation for the spiritual community in the truth movement. There they are. And so now they're coming at me and telling me that I don't have the right to talk about my experience with some of these people out there that are at the base of it. Are you freaking kidding me? It's like you come in. See, this is the vampires. They come into my personal journal when I'm sharing my journey with other human beings of my own life experiences that I gone through. And they have the audacity, the scum has the audacity to come in and tell me that I don't have the right to share my experience. See? Because why? Because they treat me as though I'm slave like them. That's not my mental state of being. Excusez-moi. This is what I like to say. That's not a mental slave. Is someone who serves somebody else. If this wasn't your experience, but somebody else's experience, how do you have the right? Plus, it's my journal. It's my journal. It's just like it only makes sense for somebody who still has not even had any sort of recognition of self. But what does George Kavassilis talk about lately? Sovereignty? A reptilian sovereignty? Is that what these women express right now? Or is it slavery that they express? See, and so it does to them, it doesn't matter my experience because they can't perceive, even like I said, and then they get upset that I call them, Maxine Waters IQ level, because they can't even perceive, because that's what techno spirituality, Arizona, Team Light, and Sedona, all of those scammers, okay, these are all scammers. It's all technology, and the thing is, they think because they have they had access to it, this is why they think that they are above others, because it only runs on that type of mentality. So this is why this fight is first within. So you got to fight first your own demons. And so here we come into possession. And some of these people I've talked about, they're fully possessed. There is nobody home there. Okay, there's not even, you can get rid of their demons, then there is going to be only a vegetable. It's some of these people, to those degree, they are DNA been that degraded. You understand that their human DNA is so degraded that they can't even relate to be a human being. Ta-da! Simon Parks. I am a reptilian, Simon Parks. Do you need more to know? And when I originally called out Simon Parks, it was 2015. I made a little video on my old YouTube. Do you guys remember? On my old YouTube, I made a video about him talking about, here's a reptilian draining everyone of energy, of life force, because this is the anti-life force incarnated in that human being, and he can only take. It's a vampiric structure. And then he goes, "Oh, I'm also a vampire." Okay. And then on that time, everybody was like, okay, well, he's so special. We should follow him. So everybody's following him and listening to him. Why is that? Because that reptilian DNA, meaning the spell on the human being, is still working. So they're still under that spell and can only operate on slave mind. And this is what happens. And so a lot of that would happen in Arizona and correlates with rituals. So this is why there's portals and all of that stuff that are open that way. And so when you guys all connected, and I told you how Scientology is connected to it, because that's that techno spirituality. They basically take a human being and through abuse, basically. So what happens is the human capacity to reason and based his decisions on that living, instead what happens is they're triggered into this constant fear state. So then this is then their mind only can operate on that level, and this is where they can expand and get a better use of that reptilian DNA. This is why, because this is the way human being, and so then they turn it against you, right? And so this is where that possession, like I said, then happens with this techno spirituality. Hi, Remus. Thank you for being here. Hello, warriors. Yeah, Violet, thank you for being here. So see what they're gonna do is they're gonna protect their, because this is what these people intellectually, then because they don't develop human intellect, the natural God given. Instead, they're moved towards, you know and then more on that infected DNA. And so then those codes that I talk about, right, nano DNA strand, then takes over. And this is how, when somebody's and this is why genetics for the royal, oh my god, yeah, I can't even call them royal because it's just like, um but that bloodline, let's just say, those people that need titles to feel special. Hi, be true. So okay, so when you can, the inbreeding is for those purposes. Okay, this is why, so they can keep the same entity in. Okay. I don't know. I don't want to go too far here, you guys, because I don't want to get people too upset. But those of you that are, had overcome your own sort of, and activated the living light within, meaning you're a living human being, and so you have a moral code or your own living codes that are given to you by God, because you are that creator being in human form. This is what the higher purpose of human being is. And this is why we even have in this reality two spheres of the mind. So because we have the ability and capability to do this here in this reality, to balance this reality. But these people, with their techno crap, and then they gonna go and talk to me about, oh, Lily, you don't know what you're talking about in your journals. Really? I'm just journaling my experience, bitches. Excusez-moi. Sorry about my phone, if you can hear it. Okay. So this is the DNA codes. I don't want to go too much into it because it gets very technical, because it's all nanotech. And this is why the quantum mechanics actually is really, for those of you that are into that, the quantum mechanics, this is very good to, like, then you can understand how this thing operates, okay? And why it needs what it needs, and why, and many of you know that why also with the anti-life force, let's just say the anti-life force, because this is ultimately what the biggest difference between a true living human soul and then one, whatever you want to call it. There's so many different names for these people that have this deteriorated genetic structure to the point where they cannot self-regenerate, meaning the soul is dead. There is no light anymore. It cannot create light because it's disconnected from source, meaning there is no living soul, but yet there is a being there, right? So it's the anti-life force. And this is why there's so much of this vampiric thing going on here. Yeah, there, Laura. Exactly. Hi. And yeah, zombies. And I've called them zombies in 2017. I said, zombie apocalypse is coming. Here we go. Here we go. And so here's your zombies are out there right now. The zombies are going to be talking about aliens are still coming to save us. There's ascension going on. There is, they're ascending up, Jenny McCartney's first chakra. It's still going on. There's still babbling about ascension. There's still, all of this stuff going on. There is, it's just, if we are here, if there's a life, there's going to be always that. There's just like, I don't know. And so these people, they're possessed by this anti-life force, and it even talks in the Bible. And so Jesus talked a lot about that. So the zombies thing, and this is what he could see, and this is what the demons then, because you can see that the demons are actually in control. And this is then what you can see how nanotech now plays the role, because all this little nanotech, it's like little particles that attach to your nervous system and then take over. Okay. And this is what sort of that, because even when I talk about what is this inorganic consciousness, that the only form, physical form that it has present in this reality is this black goo. And this is my conference thing that I talk about AI in 2015. And there I talk about it's this anti-light or anti-life. It's dead light. I called it in there dead light or dead consciousness. And so I don't know. So these are the people that have this sort of approach to it. And this is that, then this is how it all became the fact that, and I mentioned a little bit about the Eisenhower betrayal. And he said it, he told Americans the truth. Eisenhower, he told Americans the truth on January 17, 1961. Go listen and go see what does he say about spiritual takeover of America. He admitted to it because that's what they have to tell you. They have to tell you. This is what he allowed. And this is when they started this experimentation with genetics and DNA manipulations of Americans here. This is when it all started, and this is your MK Ultra hybrids and all of that stuff that then they present them as, you know, Alfred Weber was out there screaming, hybrids are here to save us, hybrids here to save us. And the people would come out, this MK Ultra people would come out and admit to you that they've had this takeover, that meaning they're possessed by this techno entity, that this is the nanotech, that they're infected with the nanotech, which is a nano genetic codes. It's from let's just say a planet, exploded planet genetics. Some of you understand which one, what I'm talking about, let me know. So that's what it is. So anyway, oh my God, I've been here half an hour. Yes, she said it was Eisenhower Firewall address. He was leaving office, and it was his final thing, and he said, you know, what are the dangers to Americans, and one was the spiritual invasion, and this is what it is. This is the transhuman agenda, and this is because these invaders, they work from within. And so, and I said, and this is why I many times I mentioned for you guys to go and do your own research and go look, like I said, once you in this equilibrium, looking from your own 360-degree view of your own internal self anchored in eternity, then this is what you see, then you can see. And when you listen to that speech, this is exactly what he was talking about. Was just few years after Club Idiots Assembly formed here in America. And so, and then if you go before that, then this is what I talk about Eisenhower betrayal during his, and this is that famous alien meetings or the contract that he signed with aliens, as many have talked about. And then, so all of that is just, and then from that time on, already there, he told you what was coming. Okay. So it's like, again, in this case, when you have the ears to hear and the eyes to see, sort of, you'll connect the dots and you'll understand what he's saying there. It was already happening. So it's like, this is why it's already happening. So that's why they have to tell you. So then everybody gets in line. So all the slave mentality people that only follow others, that they don't have any self-standing, they don't have a core. So then they don't have a core. Literally, they don't have a core. You know what I mean? Like, it's the anti-life force. That's why some of them feed on death. I mean, it is what it is. Healing music 432. I don't know about 432. I prefer natural sounds. So like, even something like that. You don't have to even, but there's like, this is a lot more, let's just say, pure, because a lot of people with the music out there's a lot of things, and I haven't got to it, but there is also a lot of the piggybacking going on in that reality, because frequency is also used to control humanity. And so music is, of course, so infected, and so then, and then again, those that are in truth movement, again, there's also, music and all of that stuff. So there's a lot of those people out there too that also, because what happens is this people kind of like slave mentality, and then it goes from level to level to level, and whatever you want to call it, they're all, but when you look back, when you yourself are standing as a warrior, anchor in eternity again, then you'll not, you're not going to be swing one way or another. So you can look back and say, oh, okay, of course, of course, look at George Cavazos. Everything was based on aliens. He served alien agenda for years until things started heating up and people started, questioning him. As soon as you start questioning them, they change their tactics. And then they just keep going on. And then there's a saying in Russia that everybody gonna tell me who your friends are, I'll tell you who you are. And I say, look back at those people's connections at least 2012, 2013, and 2014. Those are 3 years of a very important years that I myself, I'm going to be looking back at quite a bit in the future. Okay, you guys. So then this is what, and I, like I said, this is then the demons, then through religion, then the demons, whatever belief system then imprinted on the human mind, and especially at the young age, up to 7 years old, right? Whenever it's imprinted on the human mind, then this kind of sets in. And so whatever the belief system, then through this nanotech, then these entities can then attach themselves to the soul, okay, and just feed on the soul as a battery, but yet control the human mind, or control because the mind's broken, and so it cannot work in balance because it's broken, so it cannot attain equilibrium. And this is why they break every mind. This is why, like the spies, the ones that are remote controlled, all those people, they're all being abused and put into through this programming of abuse, and you know what kind of abuse. So then they can take over this mind, but there's also gut mind. And this is where the sexual abuse comes in, because the attachments then comes through there, through the other. This is a parasitic sort of thing that overlays then a human soul. And then they dare to call it angels or call it whatever it is. Then they're here to, and all these people that have been channeling all these different entities for decades. They've been channeling parasites on human consciousness, of human living energy. And then that thing, whatever the belief structure thing, that thing just, it can orchestrate. Like I said, they can orchestrate. This is how it's all high tech. What is that black thing in the Middle East? It's high tech. Vocal vibrations, yes. And this is why when I said, and some people say, why do you um um I had watched, why do you talk so confidently about, why do you know so much about George Kavassalis? Because like I said, when I have access to everything, and so I watch how that thing operates, and how vocally, why he had to come and speak, and how that was triggering. And I've put it all on in Facebook group pressure about that how his vocal vibrations would trigger this technology that would take over a human mind, and that would become slave. They would, like, you would see, you even look back and find those old things, like videos from George Kavassalis from 2010, 11, 12, 13 even. And you look at that and what happens with people as he speaks. You don't watch him. I watch the effect, because I watched the whole thing in spiritual world. So this little, little slaves of his, the little Jannies, as I call them, because they're so manipulated into just, they just run the program. That's all. It's so pitiful for a human being, for a female, to go and fight for some piece of shit that uses you to protect himself. Warrior. Yes, so it's in DNA. Well, the DNA is, these bloodlines are actually, they're spliced in genetics. And there is, like, they're talk about Antarctica and all of those places and things like that. Those are all like um centers, that the genetic research centers, let's just say that. So, hi Yanni, hi Deanne. So yeah, There's all kind of genetic things going on. So this is what they do. So they think they can hide. My God. Like I said, the spells don't work anymore, because this is what I'm going to tell you, because it was all ran by this higher technology and all this. They're all black magic. No. Black magic, or it's all Egyptian, technology and all of that stuff. You know what? And now, as we pull more and more of living record, and so what's gonna come out is that actually more of the what's going on in Egypt turn, and how it end up and what it turned into, and why that whole thing died right now, and why it's like inside out and upside down. It's all because of this invasion took over and turned it inside out, upside down. And so this is where this is how they built all those Egyptian metaphors and all of those programs. All of that is programmed. How does that relate? Any of it relate to today? Human empowerment, standing up for our own innocent children. It does not. So all of that fufla is a nonsense to keep you occupied in the bullshit. So you keep giving your life force to those people. So imagine that. I had this woman type in text messages, not in text messages, on Facebook after my last journal. I had this woman type in my messages on Facebook. My God, I didn't even read it. I mean, she was furiously typing. I have like a 2 meters long letters from her defending George Cavazos. And I go, wow, where are you? Where your life is at? And she was so angry at me. She was throwing all this black magic at me. So for me, wishing me all this, threatening me with this and that. And all I could do is just laugh. How low do you have to be within your own life to not, why? Why? I want to know why someone would believe in someone so much. But yet when I tell them, well, because your mind's been taken over. And so I've talked about it, and the reason I was talking about that in 2012, when I talk about George, and I talked about how it's all on record on Facebook group, and I talk about how he was actually doing this, activating this technology and for mind control, this mind control operation. So now these people going to say, well, now he's talking about sovereignty. Lily, how dare you call out George Cavazos? Well, really, when you were activating mind control and when you were propagating mind control in spiritual communities, and then you all hush about it, and instead of revealing how that deception operates, like, wouldn't you, George, get so pissed at aliens that they deceived you for 2 years? Wouldn't he then would get so pissed that he would want to tear them down and show to the world the truth, that they were horrible, deceiving people, and deceived him for 2 years? Wouldn't he want to do that? Wouldn't he want to reveal that to the world? You would think he would, right? Because he's a truth fighter. He would fight for the truth. Not Georgie. No, no. Georgie went on too Mother Earth is gonna do it all for us. And here I am, warrior with the sword. These people are so dumb. They think they're gonna trick us into the same thing again. See what I'm talking about? And then take George Cavasola's name, like I said, replace it with all of those people. 95% of Truth Movement from 2009 to 2016. 95% of Truth Movement, all of them out there, are all Operation Control Truth Movement. And those people now have their tail between their legs. And this is why they're running around and running to their gatekeepers and running to their controllers for help, and even jumping in the car, like and running. Running, moving to different states, running, scared. Truth speakers. But see, they're going to still think that. Laura, you said you're doing too much research on RH blood. What do you mean? What kind of research? Yanni, you said never jived with Georgie. Georgie. See, the Georgie, I mean, it's sad because the Georgie is the little boy. Yeah. The little boy with the broken mind. And the rest is aliens, alien agenda, playing a role, being a chameleon that they are. Most of them are like that. I mean, most of them are like that. There is some people out there in Truth Movement that are standing still strong, and they've been attacked and they've been knocked down many times. And there is many more coming out now with testimonies about what their experiences. So imagine once, and so I've posted in Wild Wisdom Warriors one of those testimonies about one of this black magicians out there that pretend to be healers or pretend to be good magicians or pretend to be alien researchers, or pretend to be talking about ascension, or pretend to be talking about, external beings out there trying to help us, or giving you some kind of channeling about how to be a better human being. It's just parasite adjusting your mental consciousness, your conscious mind, so it can feed off of your true life force. And that's all they want. That's all they want. They'll pretend to be anybody. They'll pretend to be Jesus. They'll pretend to be devil. If they need to, they'll pretend to be anything. This is what it is, unless it is a self-generated thought form. Then it is not yours. And that's how I look at it. Okay, I don't know, you guys having a conversation, but I'm a little behind, and my thing is like gets stuck, and then it's just go, and then it gets stuck again. So it's just weird. Ascension group. So let's look back at the Ascension group. So the Ascension program started in like what, 2009? 2009 or so. We had all this. It was in its full bloom. and all this aliens and all this research, and remember all this conferences and all of that stuff, and all this new healing modalities and all this thing and all this mask. Remember, the this healing modality, that healing modality in New Age. Oh, Gaia this, Gaia this. Mm-hmm. And they don't even, all it is that this goyim means slave. That's what it is. They call it a slave planet. Not Georgie. Georgie calls it a slave planet. And Gaia is going to save us. Slave planet. That's what they call humanity. So anyway, is the blood type tied to cruelty in DNA? Blood type, no, not so much. And then I've talked about this in the past. The blood type is not Rh negative, and Rh positive is then more of the nanotech. The Rh positive factor is that the invasion, okay? And so the cruelty in DNA comes from this nanostrand. Okay, so this is a little bit of a different form. This is a deeper. So this goes like, you can talk about, so this is more genetic DNA. But the Rh, positive and negative, and so you can actually change your blood from positive to negative. So you can clean your blood, and because those are positive things, those are just parasites on your blood cell. Nanoparasites, that's what they are. They feed on the life force of the cell. This is not me coming up with this. This is scientifically being proven that the Rh positive factor is actually, it's a little parasite on the cell, and it feeds on the cell. When the cell expands it, anyway, I forgot the word for it. Anyway, this is what happens, I forget the words. And so it basically sucks the energy from the cell. That's what Rh positive protein does. She said, you said get moderators. I don't know how to do that. Is that period blood? No. Okay, I gotta report him. Okay. All right, sorry about that. So, all right, you guys. So it looks like, yeah, they're not happy. They're not happy. So, let them be. Okay. See, I can't even do anything. It's just because that's, them playing around. Gone. All right. So anyway, oh my God, I've been here. So where was I? So Rh, okay. So that's different. And then the genetics, this is a strand, this is a third DNA strand that makes royals royals that we have today. Okay, so that's the royal bloodline. Special bloodline. Special. Oh my God. Yeah, when you're dumber than a doorknob, you give yourself a title of a king or a queen or a princess or, or whatever. So, congratulations. All right. So, so then back to Eisenhower betrayal. And what it has to do with techno spirituality, and then what you can see then what happened with the Laura Eisenhower. Then on this, she is then they make her this epitome of this, the remote control. So they're and then become the test subjects. So this is why they sell their children and grandchildren into this slavery system, for fame and fortune and all of that stuff, to get somewhere in that system, because without giving your blood to be experimented on first, you know they don't have compassion, so they took that and experimented on them too. So, and this is what happens, and this is what then they create this, and then that this is what I say why they also do at the young age, with some of these children, they will do the black goo, um, um, and will do the black goo treatments. Okay, you guys. So yeah, they don't like it that I'm talking about this stuff. That's why. So because once, like I said, once the world see that veil pulls off and people cannot unhear it anymore, and all of a sudden you understand how this whole thing operates, and it's endangering them so much. It's endangering their whole ideology, their whole lies, their whole thing is built on all of that, on that structure need to be held up by people. And so here comes Lily, talking about how the magicians pull their tricks off. And so what do you think happens when they actually pull that trick? When I came before that and talk about how they do it, they can then pull it off. So imagine how much damage the truth does to the liars. This is why they have to come after me. If people like that I called out, if they stand in truth and what I talk about is bullshit, why would they have the need to do what they do? And to attack me or to threaten me or to do anything. Truth is truth. And see, they can't handle truth. They can't handle, it's like a sunshine to a vampire. So a sunshine to a vampire. What happens? What happens? Poof! Poof, all the lies go poof. And that's what it is, you guys. So, but I know they're upset. They're really upset. So, when they do that, it makes me very happy when they get so pissed, because that means they've got nothing else. They got nothing else. This is the kind of tactics they drop to. It's just that's all they got. Really? Funny. Anyway, you guys, this was wonderful. This is interesting because these people they're all remote controlled, and this is what they use. And so this is not so complicated. Okay. But there's a way to, and there is a spiritual way. And this is where shamans come in. And this is why a lot of people that come to true shamans. Shamans understand, and this is what Castaneda talk about. This is the flyers, the shadow beings. These are the nano, restructuring. Here's your Skynet stuff. And as you guys gonna find out, and it's already out there, I also posted in Wild Wisdom Warriors. There is a little bit of, dot connecting on who brings you fifth dimension program, who brought you 5D, where did that originated from? And there you will see in that video from iPod where it's originated from and how it's related to techno spirituality too. There is a little bit of that too. So it's all connected. So like I was talking about, the reason I am making these journals is because I'm looking at the picture for what is going on for totality of human consciousness and where we're moving in this reality and what's happening. And the reason why I'm doing that, because I am going through this with all of you, and I'm sharing this in my journals, and it's amazing to see out there all of this information being put together for us on the collective level. So there is so much great researchers in truth movement. It's just that we have 5% and 95% is just scammers. They're snake oil salesmen. That's what they are. That will sell you Ascension into oblivion or whatever it is, as long as you give them a little bit of your life force, meaning you believe them just a little bit, just a little bit. And that's all they need. They'll take that emotion from you. So, and this is why I talk about these people. And this is why I don't care how upset they get. I really don't care how upset the parasites will get. They'll get even more upset and more upset and more upset, and I'll get more happier and I'll dance more, and parasites will be more upset. So it's just, there is no room for nonsense. Okay, if you're talking about empowerment and standing as a warrior being, you'll not propagate slave mentality to anyone. So I think on this subject, I don't know. Are there still any questions about it? Really? When you really look at it. So I hope you guys enjoy staying wild out there and enjoying your journey, because it's a journey of discovery of your own powers, of your own will. Because belief structures with your will controlled by all these external entities worth nothing to me, because it's all about action and will, because this is what drives reality. Without your will, without us being in charge of our own will, we are not in charge of our reality. We are not generating it. We're not creating it. We're slaves to someone else's structures. And this is what I've been talking about all this time. And so, thank you so much for joining me. It's all about us standing in equilibrium. No fear, you guys. No fear. So enjoy your rest of your week, and then I'll see you on Friday, everyone. Bye, everybody.